The most important thing about the color wheel is that you have warm colors on one side and cool colors on the other side. If you only remember one thing about the color wheel, that's the only thing you need to remember. I will jump back to why you need to know that. Alright, so these are the basic color harmonies. Again, get this stuff out of the way quickly, so it'll be the fun stuff, but this is important. Monochromatic. So it's basically different shades, one color family. You can never fail with monochromatic. If you ever are not sure what to do for a job, throw out the monochromatic and they'll think you're being artsy. Okay? It will always work. And if you're not sure yet of your color sense, monochromatic will work because I bet you have a value sense. So you're still going to be able to render and do contours and do really nice drawings and shaded work and painted work and add some color to it, but you're not really getting, these next ones we'll get to. Analogous. Used more in illustration, but not really used in representary illustration that much. So it's all colors right next to each other on the color wheel. Get that color wheel back up. There is my tablet. All right. So an example of analogous would be, let's say these three are the colors that I'll be using in the piece, or these three, not this one, and this one. Okay? Again, not a very commonly used one, really. Okay. This is triadic. This is one of the hardest ones to control. Okay? It's very easy to make this color scheme look like a fruit bowl. Okay? I'll show you an example from the master Craig Mullins. If you ever need, by the way, any color inspiration, go to goodbrush.com. Craig Mullins is the modern master. And here is Craig's sample of triadic. Now he pulls that off without making it look like football, or fruit ball. I always remember when I first started in Image Comics, all the big thing they always wanted to stay with is, we don't want our comics to look all fruit bowl-ish. So I mean, that's what, so we got the blues, we got the, again, let's jump back to the color wheel to see what he's tapping into. Let's see, not that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. So he's going over this end. Those three. Okay. And remember too, we'll get into it. Don't worry about it. We'll get there, don't worry. This is the fastest, most effective color theory short class you'll ever have. All right, let's see. This way you can tell people that you can say, well, yeah, I studied color theory. It's 10 minutes, but you did. Okay, this is the most commonly used color harmony. This is complementary. The reason why it's the most commonly used because it's basically how nature works, okay? So you have directly opposite colors in the scheme. And how this really works is in the real world, and this is another one of the only things you need to remember from this, if you take anything else away from this. Warm light, like this color, the shadow condition of this light will be a desaturated version of that color. It will have some of this color in it, okay? You go the other way, and it works the other way. You always go, I've never seen a warm shadow before. Go outside and go at night when you see either the moon's lighting stuff, or if you get a really nice those incandescent street lamps that skews towards blue, you'll see brown shadows. Okay? That's the most commonly used one. Now, remember, if you are going to throw those colors into the shadow conditions, shadows, there aren't light in shadows. So the color that's going to be in the shadow is going to be desaturated. Okay, I'm mostly in shadow right here. I probably look pretty desaturated in the colors. But I probably have some blue reflecting on me and stuff from that. But it's not bright. And a lot of people make the mistake of, I'm going to put a bright blue in that saturation color. I was like, no. Desaturate it and have it be down. Show you another example of the master doing a complementary piece. Warm light and cool going into the purples. If we look at the right about here. Okay? And you'll also see if you start doing that. So if you do a portrait of anyone and you're not going to light them straight on, you're going to do something interesting where you have some shadows on a portrait. If you kick in some of those complementary colors, the thing's going to come to life. It's not going to be just, okay, it's pink flesh and it's just going to get darker pink flesh in the shadow, right? No, that's not what happens. Okay, now you're done with color theory. You've all graduated, take your tassels, put them on the other side. Okay, let's close some of these beautiful pictures. I always get sick, half the time, you'll notice I teach a lot from showing other people's work, just because I get sick of looking at my own. And I love Craig's work, so it's fun to look at Craig's. Alrighty then. Okay, now let's do one more quick bit, just so you can get used to it. These are my last 2 minutes on color theory. Color harmony. Okay, I'm going to show you 3 strips. They all basically have the same colors in it, but they have hue shifts in those colors or saturation shifts in the colors. So you can see how certain colors put next to each other can work. Like that's a fairly benevolent mix right there, right? Let's see if I have these in order, see if I'm smart. I do. Not as good as the other one, right? Essentially the same colors too. See, in that order, the ones that are next to each other. So in other words, think about what colors you have next to each other too, okay? Not as pleasant. And then, if I take it and do a little hue shift, it becomes ghastly. Okay? If anybody out there is worried that they're colorblind, there's a test for that they use in art school. And basically, you put a shiny Coke can out. And you say, draw the Coke can, or paint the Coke can. And if the people are just doing pure white highlights in the red instead of brighter red, going from the darker red, then you need to observe a little bit more. Because notice like even his shirt, he's getting hit from the back right here, this guy, gentleman in the first row. You'll see some light hitting him on the back. So he has dark red going to red, it never goes to pink. And that's what most beginning colors will do by it. They'll add white. It's not about adding white, okay? And I'll show you how to avoid that in Photoshop. One last bit that's important when you're doing this stuff. This is the exact same color palette I've had since 1993. The reason why it works so well and it has saved my ass on many occasions is I am so familiar with this color palette, I know exactly how it should look. If I jump on another new computer or someone else's computer and load it up, I can tell if their monitor's off, if it's too dark, too light, too concentrated, too warm, too cold, because I'm so used to seeing the bloody thing. So that's the value in having the swatch palette that you have. I mean, at the end of the day, and we'll fire up Photoshop. I have CS4, but I can't show you all the bells and whistles because the OpenGL isn't working properly on my laptop. But CS4 is the best version of Photoshop ever, especially for artists. Because what it has, and I won't be able to show you because I don't have the OpenGL working, is, let's just grab something.
Is that the latest version?
Yes.